Paul, that was a difficult afternoon, wasn't it?
It was in the end. I think it's we've lost a game of football, so of course I don't understand the emotion attached to that and what people will be feeling. I think prior to the sending off, it wasn't the prettiest of games. We know that conditions made that extremely difficult for both teams. I don't think any team showed what they're capable of in terms of the really good football they can play. But ultimately, we didn't take chances. I think we had 4 really good, whether it's chances, situations, to go ahead. We didn't take any of those. The last one was in the second half. I think we had 3 in the first half. And then that cost us because we haven't got anything to protect. Luke gets sent off for a second booking, and I guess the frustration, or which sort of adds to or compounds that, is 2 minutes later they go in front with a really good goal from a player that I know well and is capable of a great strike. So it's hard to criticise from that point of view in terms of it's a good goal, and we're down to 10 men. Then they scored the second, which obviously realistically put the game out of reach for us. I didn't see the players stop trying, but it maybe summed it up where I think it was the last corner we had was kind of bundled away off the goal line rather than crossing the line and maybe just giving you that one more chance to try and get something from the game. But it looks like the team, in certain cases at least, a bit low on confidence, and that was all the way through. But I still felt that, like I said, we had the best moments really up until that sending off.
Any complaints about the 2 yellows for Luke?
The first one I'm really not sure about. The only thing I will say in terms of the referee's defence is, and it's a phrase that we band about in today's game, that it's a strong challenge. From what I saw at least, I thought he clearly won the ball. And it's getting really difficult in terms of almost instruction to players of what do you do? Because if he doesn't slide and try and reach the ball, then certainly the player can get there first. He can perhaps go past Luke, and then if they go and score, I'll be the first to hold my hand up and say I'll be going mad at Luke for what you're doing. So I find that hard in terms of just the way that it's going at times with bookings. The second one, obviously, it's happened a few times where it seems to just hold up on the pitch and he's kind of waiting for it to come down. The lad's nipped in. He's obviously got very long levers, shall we say, to get to the ball first. So no complaints with that one. And at that stage, then it's got to be a second yellow and a red card. Yeah,
and then just a couple of minutes after that, Sean Whalley gets that goal. It was a great strike from him, as you say, you had him at Shrewsbury, and it kind of knocked the stuffing out of everyone in the ground, I think.
Of course, and that's it. I think the players talked about at half time it kind of feeling a bit flat. Now, I don't disagree with them, but in fairness, I thought there were a section of the crowd that was really good, trying to get some atmosphere going in that first half and that second half. But I've said, when it's like that, it's our duty really to try and lift everything. We're the ones that aren't there, and if you run hard and you win your tackles, you create the chances, you take chances, score a goal, obviously that changes the mood. But we couldn't get that goal to certainly do that. As I said, I thought it was more, I think the last sort of couple of games have been more what I'd describe League Two affairs, whereas prior to that I was really kind of pleased with how we're playing, even if we weren't getting the results. And this is what we talk about, being a long season where very few teams will continually play anywhere close to where they want to be, and that's the reality of it. And today was one of those days with maybe a sort of typical Grimsby day with a wind swirling and blowing, and that made it kind of a game of two horse in terms of being able to get up the pitch certainly or be pinned back.
And also in that period of play, not long before that, Abuisa had a fantastic chance from about 6 yards out. You've probably put your house on him scoring from that close range, but went over.
Yeah, and look, that ultimately, you expect him to take it, as you say, but we didn't. I think had that been at the start of the season, I think that we'd have all said he scores that. He scored obviously from a hell of a lot further out. But like I said, that just feels a little bit how it's going. But at the same time, what we can't do is feel sorry for ourselves. We've got to front up. I'll certainly do that, and that's what the players, we have to do, because you only get yourself out of situations. You might get a tiny bit of help from an opposition or a refereeing decision or something like that, but in the main, you've got to face the challenge ahead. You have to go through bad times to have careers. I've certainly experienced that in whether it's time as a manager, time as a player. Some of those players have, but some of the younger ones, it might be kind of the first time they've been through this experience. Certainly we've maybe more expectation on some of the shoulders, and it'll be a great learning experience for them. It's not one that I think any of us want to really go through, but as I said, to really get on in this game, you've got to learn to deal with that. That's how the best players do it, and how they, like I said, go on to have good careers.
Next Saturday we visit Edgeley Park, Stockport County, top of the league. Do you see that as a good time to play them? Because it kind of shows you what the character is like of your squad at this time when confidence is a bit low, or is it a really bad time when they're flying?
We'll see, won't we, I guess. I think the latter is the obvious way that people will judge that and look at it. But at the same time, as you said, it's an opportunity to go and maybe show some people, certainly put on a performance. They're flying, as is no surprise to me. We talked about how tough the league is, and they had a not quite, certainly not as long a period, but the last 3 seasons they seem to have not quite come out of the blocks as I'm sure they would have liked, but they've managed to change that around a lot quicker this time round, and like I said, rightly sit top of the league, and will certainly be hoping to go one better than they did last year when, for all those that were cared to listen, said I thought they'd be there or thereabouts, and were missed out on penalties in the final, and we'll be wanting to go better, so it doesn't get any tougher, that's for sure. But we've got to try and show that character. As you said, that's what I'll be looking for. I'm sure it's what the fans will be looking for, is to go and just give their all. And whatever the outcome, then you can't ask for more than that. But what we can't do is kind of go into a shell and be fearful. And that's, again, very easy sat here. Crossing that white line, it can become different, but that's what we've got to aim for.